There she is. Oh, how I missed her. It is 10:30 a.m. and oh boy, do I have something magical planned for 11 o'clock this morning. A Disneyland dream, yet another, is getting ready to come true. Oh man, does it feel great to be back at Disneyland proper, the only park that Walt Disney himself ever set foot in. That's a big theme of today's video, and a video I have dreamed about making for quite some time. It is the perfect welcome home back to Disneyland because the timing couldn't be more on my side once again. Yeah. I love being a visitor at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. But when I come home to Disneyland, I literally come home to Disneyland because I know every little nook and cranny of this park, every way that it works. Oh, this is gonna be a great day. About the best version of coming home I can imagine. And literally, I'm coming home. Well, at least to Walt's home. Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Bricky here, back home inside of Disneyland. And today, speaking of homes, we're gonna go to the Disney family home, Walt's apartment above the fire station of Main Street, USA. It is gonna be a magical vlog today. And here's the thing, I can't film in certain locations, but that's not gonna stop me from telling you the story of taking the tour that takes you inside of the Disney family apartment inside of Disneyland. One of the greatest little stories inside of a place that already has an embarrassment of riches of stories. Can you tell I'm excited to be back home and to do this? I hope so. Soak it in. Soak it in. It's so little, it's so tiny, it's so perfect. My tour begins at 11 a.m. It's scheduled to run for 90 minutes and it's 10:40. I'm supposed to check in 15 minutes beforehand, but I just had to come up here, stand up on the steps of the Main Street train station and look out on the Walt's perfection because it is one of my all-time favorite views inside of this park. And look how much kinetic energy is going on all around me. We have the band playing, we have the old jalopy, the Omnimover bus, fans coming in, getting geared up for a big day. The train's just gone by. It is a symphony of magic, each piece playing its own part, which is music to my ears and heart. Hey, that rhymed. All right, we're gonna check in over at the Tour Gardens, which secretly has one of the best bathrooms at Disneyland. So the actual name of today's tour is this right here. The Main Street Story. Part of the tour, you get to go inside of the Disney family's apartment on Main Street. It's not the only reason why I booked it, but it was a big part of it. So you might notice I have dropped my regular costume of black pants, black t-shirt, black backpack. I'm wearing a holiday festive orange blouse that matches the horrible red beard, black t-shirt, blue jeans, my dress-up Nikes, because after all, I'm going to Walt's house. And if you're going to Walt's house, you gotta dress up. So first things first, they asked me to take a seat over here in this little area. They have sort of blocked off. They asked me what beverage I wanted. I could have got any Coke product. I chose water. Need to get some hydration going. And now I'm just sitting, waiting for it all to begin. Something that I've always dreamed of. What's on the other side of Walt's lamp? And today, I'm very excited to tell you all a story that I was told by somebody who was here on the opening day of Disneyland, one of the original Mouseketeers. It's a story I've told in my live streams, but I've never told it in an edited video. And I think today's the perfect day to lay one of the best Disney stories on you that I've ever been told in my entire life. We're all cyborged up. Art Linkletter coming in? Okay, I hear you, let's go. I just cranked my volume up. I don't want to miss a word from Nick. It looks like there's maybe only going to be 5 people on my tour, which is awesome. So this is pretty awesome. It's going to be 5 people in our tour. I've done several VIP guided tours, both here on the West Coast and out east, but this will be the smallest group I've ever been in, and I'm very excited how small that number is. I was afraid that if it's like 10, 15 people and they're all strangers, that it just could be hard to get the experience that I was hoping to get. This is a really good indication, and I'm loving that I'm all cyborged up on property. And since it is such a small group, of course you know I'm making friends. And 2 of the people, it's their first time ever at Disneyland.
Just kind of gather around it.
Now, I'm making a creative decision to not share the entire tour with you because that would be a spoiler, and also it's their intellectual property. I'm going to give you my version of the tour, what I liked about it, what resonated with me, and advice on whether you should take the tour or not. It's a big difference. I wouldn't want to ruin this for anybody. I would just like to let you know what to expect. That's the fair way to do this. That's my creative decision. Hope you respect it. See you guys on the other side. Friends, getting to see where Walt Disney laid his head, drank his coffee, played with his grandkids, and kissed his wife goodnight, it makes the myth feel more like a man. And knowing how much he loved Disneyland, having a place to call his own inside the park that bared his name, illustrates how humble this Missouri man truly was. Getting to go up here was a dream come true, and truly an epic part of my own Main Street story. Well, that was quite the experience. Getting to go inside of Walt's apartment, whoa, we got a lot to talk about. So right out of the gate, getting to go inside the Disney family's apartment and experience where they congregated and how they lived. What a unique way to experience the park. And, you know, I thought about it a lot from Walt's perspective, but mostly the grandkids. Like the ultimate grandkid experience. Your grandfather happens to be Walt Disney and happens to have an apartment inside of Disneyland. So this is the treat that you get, this big, square, giant Pop-Tart looking cookie. I don't think that I want it, and I really know that I don't want to carry it around. So there was a story that I had heard once before, and it was probably the most touching Disneyland Walt Disney story I'd ever heard. And our amazing tour guide repeated that story, which was great because I don't really recall ever hearing Disney official tell the story. And the story goes as this. On opening day of Disneyland, they had the original Mouseketeers here, and they were up there taking breaks between performances, waving through the windows at folks. And one of the Mouseketeers, a little girl at the time, she said that she heard somebody come up the stairs and she saw that it was Mr. Disney, Walt. And according to her recollection, she saw him walk up to the window, lean over it, and look out into Town Square. He had a smile on his face and a tear running down his cheek. And it was that moment that he realized that selling his family home in Palm Springs, doing something that everybody had told him not to do, had finally paid off. Because he saw the smiles of people in Town Square, and he knew that they were loving Disneyland and that his dream had finally come true. Getting to be in that same spot, to look out that same window. When I was inside the apartment, I got down on one knee and I looked out the window and I got to see what Walt saw. Families having fun, people exploring and excited to come into the gates of Disneyland to kick off a day of adventure. And I just thought about what it must have been as a fellow creative to gamble it all, to bet it all, and to know that you're winning big because your dream had came true 1,000 times over. So getting to stand right there and see that view like Walt got to, that was worth the price of admission all alone for me. Now, is this tour worth it for you? Let's break that down. Friends, I interrupt today's video to ask you, please consider subscribing to the channel. It won't cost you a dime, just a good time. Subscribe to Hey Bricky and help me keep taking you on all these fun adventures. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for becoming part of our family. The tour was $160 for one person. Good thing is there was only 5 of us, so it was very intimate and we could ask whatever questions we wanted to. We could talk to Nick, our tour guide. Like, it was very, very high on customer service. However, if you're a hardcore Disney fan, I didn't hear any stories that I hadn't heard before. And in fact, there were some very important ones that I felt were missing. This has nothing to do with the performance of our cast member. He did a great job telling the stories, super personable guy. You could tell that he loves Disney and the parks, but the script and story they have approved for them, it's a little lacking for those of us that are ultra hardcore. So my advice would be, if you're a hardcore fan and you've always wanted to go up there into Walt's apartment, that's what you're buying. You're not buying a ticket for new information because, quite honestly, you probably know everything they're going to tell you. You're doing it to get in that space up there. Let's talk about that. They give you so much time in the apartment. It never felt rushed. It never felt hurried. We were able to hang out in the apartment for about 30 minutes. And then we were able to go on this patio over here for an additional 30 minutes. The entire tour runs 90 minutes long, and an hour of it was spent in this building, and it was not rushed in any manner, in any way. Once you go through this door, no more cameras, no more filming. Oh. Once you go through this door, no more cameras, no more filming, but they do take photos of you. They took a couple of photos with my camera, and they also had a PhotoPass cast member take photos with you as well. So you do get to document that you were there and you got to see it. And they do a phenomenal job of showing you every little detail in the apartment, telling you all about its history, what all the items symbolize, what they mean, and letting you know what's original and what they have put in there since then and what it replaced. After 30 minutes in the apartment, you get to go on this little deck right here, sit outside. You've got great views of Main Street. You get to hear the sound ambiance of Main Street, and they do not rush you at all. However, the snacks that they provide was one giant cookie and a beverage of your choice. I chose water. That part was fun. I did it with strangers, a couple that it was their first time ever, a gentleman who's a representative of Marceline, which was wild, and then another nice woman who seemed like she was a hardcore Disney fan. So we had a good group. It might be different if it was you and 4 of your friends and you had that patio. It would really feel like a special outing where you're hanging out with friends. But that being said, it was also a ton of fun doing it with strangers. Well, my tour guide Nick just walked by. So this is brand new, right?
Yeah, just today, opening day. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony just this morning.
Wow, dude, you did such a great job. Thank you so much. And I could really tell that you love Disney parks, but you really love Walt Disney. And that came through in everything you did. So I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. What a guy. What an absolute legend. Such a nice guy. So ultimately, I'll say this. If you're a hardcore Disney enthusiast and you really want to get into Walt's apartment and you want to hang out on the deck, and I realize now that because this is opening day, I was really lucky to only have 5, because typically it's like a regular VIP tour where you could have up to 10 guests. So with it being half as many people, we got a very intimate experience. And I'm telling you, they do not rush you in the apartment. They do not rush you on the patio. The patio only used to be available for executives, meetings, the Disney family back in the day, entertaining. And by the way, the Disney family still has access to the apartment in whatever capacity that they need it. That was a great fun fact. Who this tour is not for? Now, if you're looking to learn a whole lot more of Disney knowledge and you're kind of a know-it-all type and you just want to get more information, quite honestly, you'll probably be a little bit bored. If you're not a hardcore Walt Disney history fan, don't buy it. And if I'm being completely honest, $160 feels like $70 too much. I think the appropriate price for this would be $90. And in fact, they used to do this tour before the Thanos snap, and you got a lot more for a lot less. But that's kind of the sign of the times, right? I enjoyed it. I had an amazing time. I think some people will really enjoy it. I think others would think that it's overpriced. Hopefully you feel I've given you enough information to make an informed decision on whether the tour is right for you. But there is one last story that I'd like to share with you. The story we were told was a story where Walt's grandson got up early one morning after doing a sleepover with his grandparents, and he got up and he looked out the window of the fire station out into an empty town square at Disneyland. This space right here below me. And that's when Walt told his grandson that this isn't how it's supposed to be seen, because the missing ingredient that makes this place come alive is us, the guests. And Disneyland wasn't meant to be seen without people in it. It was meant to always be observed, full of life, full of energy, full of people living magic and making memories. And that's why everything off the stage is considered backstage, because we should never see Disneyland when it's not fully operating and in that moment of making dreams come true. And hearing those type of stories and in trying to use your imagination of being Walt's grandchild and envisioning your grandfather giving you that sage advice that this isn't for us and our family, this is for everyone. This is a place where people can come from all around the world and find a commonality and escaping from their problems and being a dreamer for a day. friends, I had so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this review. And I also hope you respect that I didn't film every little note, because if you're gonna do this, I'd like for you to be surprised. And also, it's not completely fair to steal somebody else's intellectual property. They are selling this package, and I wanted to respect that product. So friends, from the edge of Main Street, USA, my favorite land at Disneyland, thank you so much for taking this tour with me. I hope that I gave you the information that you needed to know whether you should book this or not for yourself. And I hope my fun was contagious, because I had a lot of fun today and checked off another thing on my Disneyland wish list. I think now I'm inspired just to take a victory lap down Main Street and just enjoy it and all of its rich history. Feels so good to be back home at Disneyland. Gotta go say hi and bye to a friend. Thanks, Walt, for believing in your dream and teaching all of us to believe in our dreams too. I am a lucky, lucky guy to get to come here so often. Love this place. While I'm celebrating Main Street, why not? Why not? The bonus round post the tour has just been like a cavalcade, partner statue, getting a quick rip on the horse-drawn cart. Like, magic's coming in strong. Is there any place better? No. The answer is no. Thank you. I'm heading home. Nothing could beat that.